As a parent, you need to keep your children safe. You keep tabs on where your children go when they leave the house, but do you know where they go when they're online? There are millions of inappropriate websites and thousands of predators online, and our local Sheriff's Department, FBI, Immigrations and Customs Enforcement are trying to catch them all the time. But it's tough to get them all. On this episode of The Badge, the dangers you'll find online and safety tips to help prevent your child from becoming a victim in the first place. And later, buying drugs from online pharmacies may save you money on your prescriptions, but is it legal? Are you getting what you're paying for? And most importantly, is it safe? We'll tell you why it's a bad idea to buy pills through the internet. Also, an exclusive interview with the Drug Enforcement Administration's Special Agent in charge of the Seattle Field Division, Mark Thomas.
I think people watch TV and they think the DEA agents are people that have long hair and earrings and lots of tattoos, spend all their time in bars and drive red Ferraris. And you can follow people around in a red Ferrari. Pretty far from the truth.
You're watching The Badge. Technology is a great tool that continues to change and grow, but knowing how to use it properly and how to avoid the dangers that can accompany technology is a challenge faced by every parent. Even law enforcement must vigilantly keep up with technology because the bad guys are always trying to stay one step ahead. For 20 years, Stephanie Lister has been prosecuting federal crimes as an assistant U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Washington. When she began her career at 24, she was one of the youngest assistant U.S. attorneys in the country.
My name is Stephanie Lister. I am a federal prosecutor and I am the leader of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. When I first came to the Department of Justice, I worked on a variety of different criminal cases. Whether it was the violent crimes with drugs and guns or identity theft or mail theft, really a variety of things. But now I see more and more of the crimes that are being committed are committed online. And so the nature of cybercrimes has changed significantly. I mean, we just didn't really prosecute cybercrime 10 years ago. And now that's a significant portion of my caseload. But it's also challenging because the law always changes, and in the area that I work in, cybercrimes, the technology always changes. So the cybercriminals always come up with another new method with which to commit their crime. So staying on top of that, or trying to stay on top of that, is a challenge.
Lister is a member of various task forces. She is also the Project Safe Childhood coordinator.
And what Project Safe Childhood is it is a national initiative by the Department of Justice. It was started in 2006, and really the goal of Project Safe Childhood is to protect our kids while they're online and to prevent their sexual exploitation while they're online.
As a U.S. attorney, Lister works with local law enforcement, the FBI, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement to catch the bad guys.
The FBI is also a member of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, and the FBI is involved with a number of national operations that leads are sent to Spokane and the Eastern District of Washington that they investigate.
Before being assigned in Spokane, FBI Special Agent Loza was on the Cyber Squad in L.A. She has experience in online undercover operations and provides information on how these predators groom and entice young children.
My name is Norma Loza, and I'm a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. When I first started working that unit, I'd go online as a 13-year-old girl, and we'd look for individuals that are trying to exploit children or meet underage females or males. And at that time, when I first started doing that, I looked a lot younger. I would actually go out and dress as a decoy as a 13-year-old girl, and I'd go out and I would be the decoy, and I would sit there and wait for the individual to come up and approach me.
Agent Marcus Munn works for Immigration and Customs Enforcement as a forensic agent. Munn works closely with local law enforcement and federal agencies when it comes to gathering evidence from computers.
He has the ability and the knowledge to get the information out of the computers or the cell phones that then prosecutors need for trial. He is really the person who extracts the evidence out of these digital media devices.
I'm Marcus Munn, Special Agent, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Most people rely on me with the aspect of the computer forensics and cyber investigations. There's 3 computer forensics agents within our area of responsibility, and we're responsible for working with all of the agents in our agency, as well as responding to state and local requests for assistance. There's not a lot of cases that we investigate that don't have some sort of nexus to computer or computer crimes, maybe the internet. And my job as a digital forensics agent is to assist agents in their investigations and conduct my own investigations and recover all those items of digital evidence that you can have in a case, whether they're emails or photos, communication between people conspiring to commit an offense.
One of the benefits of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force is we bring all these different agents together. Someone may have great information about Google and how to get information from Google. Someone else may know how to get information off a cell phone, and we combine all this information so that we can more effectively investigate and prosecute these online crime cases. I'd have to say the most rewarding part of my career is really working with law enforcement to achieve a successful result by getting someone really dangerous off the street. In 20 years plus as a prosecutor, nothing really can prepare you for looking at the images of child sexual abuse online. Really, they're crime scene photos. They're photographs of children who have been sexually abused, and they're horrific and they're graphic. So those pictures are hard to get out of your mind, and the sounds on the video, you just really can't forget those things. I think that what's most important is for parents and children to have a dialogue and use that common sense that we know in the real world that we wouldn't do certain things. We wouldn't talk to strangers. We wouldn't give out personal information to a stranger, and we should do that in cyberspace too.
A lot of parents want to know who their children's friends are in real life. They should be just as interested in who their friends are online and to really show an interest in what their kids are doing. A lot of parents aren't as tech savvy as their kids, and they really need to commit themselves to knowing what their kids do online and who they talk to and who they chat with.
Next on The Badge, how the Department of Justice, educators, and students work together in the classroom and the community to reduce online crime. You're watching The Badge. In this episode, the dangers your children face online and how to avoid them. The Department of Justice has teamed up with ESD 101, an educational and training facility, along with educators across Washington. They are helping to educate not only students, but also their parents with new parenting skills.
If we can educate the community about internet safety and about the need to teach our children internet safety, then hopefully we can prevent the sexual exploitation of a child.
ESD 101 serves and supports 59 public school districts and 47 state-approved private schools in eastern Washington. They provide essential cooperative services to schools and other learning communities.
We were really fortunate enough to partner with Educational Service District 101, or ESD 101. And they have just embraced this project. They've received a grant from the Department of Justice under Project Safe Childhood. They've developed all kinds of training for teachers and students and school officials on internet safety.
Brent Howard is a technology integration specialist with ESD 101. Together, he and Stephanie Lister present and instruct online safety seminars to educators, parents, and students. Brent spearheads the Internet Safety Training and Education Project, or the iStep project.
The project is focused on working with educators, but we also do community service nights, so we'll talk to parent groups, to students, to teachers, and trying to provide internet safety awareness to those groups of people, and we also provide resources for the educational communities. The Project Safe Childhood focuses on not only law enforcement and prosecution, but also on prevention and intervention of some of these online crimes.
I am absolutely passionate about our need to educate our community about internet safety. By the time a case gets to my desk, the child victim has already been sexually abused, the pictures have already been created, the child's innocence is lost, and those pictures are going to be on the internet forever. So by the time I get a case, it's too late.
If we can provide some awareness for the community on some of these things that are crimes, and so that they are aware of them, can recognize them, some of that can be prevented from even happening in the first place.
Our kids are on the computer at 3-4 years of age, and we can talk to them about internet safety and passwords and things like that. And as they develop and mature and they're using the internet for school to do searches, we should teach them about what do you do if you get an inappropriate email or if you find an inappropriate site. Start that dialogue so that the kids can go to you and say, I found this on the internet, I'm uncomfortable with this, what should I do? And then parents or teens or kids can report it to the cyber tip line.
Let's say I made a fake name.
Carrie Roderick is an educator in Spokane who works directly with Howard and Lister. She is the direct connection to the students and starts that dialogue in the classroom. She conducts internet safety classes for students, teaches about the dangers in the digital world, and how to be a good digital citizen.
The concept was if we had teens talking to teens, peers talking to peers, we would be more effective in trying to get our message across to teens about the need to be safe on the internet. And then they pick different topics that are of interest to them that they prepare presentations on. We thought it would be more effective if the teens were talking to their peers.
2 students from Carrie Roderick's class were chosen to help with our next segment. The students share some of what they've learned in class. Kendra Colton and Deputy Greg Snyder, a Spokane County Crime Prevention Officer, Special Agent Losa, and Task Force Leader Stephanie Lister have important tips for us.
I'm Colton.
And I'm Kendra. Coming up next on The Badge,
Tips for parents and teens on how to safely surf the internet.
You're watching The Badge. You're watching The Badge. In this episode, the dangers your children face online. But now, we show you how to avoid them.
for a safe and fun experience online, follow these rules.
You can't obviously prevent 100% your child from being exploited on the internet, but you can help to prevent that. And actually the most important steps that I saw in actually going online and what these individuals looked for to exploit a child were: 1, supervision. They would always ask, is there a parent in the home? Where are you? Are you in your room or are you in a common area? So the most important thing is to keep the computer when they go online in a common area and supervise them every once in a while.
Always make sure your social networking sites are set to private. That way only your friends can see them.
Today's communications technologies in the form of internet and cell phones are wonderful opportunities for our children, but they're inherently dangerous as well.
Children shouldn't be online, making friends online and socializing too much. They should be out with their friends, socializing, or having real life friends come over and do things or going to their homes.
Only become friends with people you know online.
The threat from online predators and strangers is real. Just over half of 10 to 17-year-olds are posting personal information online, and just under half are actually talking to strangers.
The most important thing is to stay involved in your child's life and know what they're doing. And also you have to become a little bit computer savvy yourself.
It's just really important to talk to them, find out where they're going. What kind of sites are they visiting? Are they using social networking pages? What kind of information are they posting? Are they posting their cell phone number, which so many kids do? I mean, they wouldn't put their cell phone number on a bathroom wall, but they'll post it on the internet for everyone to see. Posting personal information is a problem not just for teens, but for adults, because that can result in identity theft. They also need to be careful about posting sexually suggestive photographs of themselves, because that can lead to a predator tracking them down and then exploiting them.
Be careful about what you post online.
Pictures and information about you can be seen by the wrong people.
Be careful about taking inappropriate pictures of yourself and passing them along to friends. They could unknowingly cause you harm and embarrassment.
A picture, once it goes out on the internet or once somebody has that picture, it's gone and they can do whatever they want to it. The advice would be, don't send out pictures to people you don't know and even to people you do know.
Information that you post on the internet today can be used long into the future by prospective employers, colleges, or anybody that's concerned about your credibility.
They need to understand that those things are going to be looked at by college admission boards. They're going to be looked at by future employers. And the things that they post now are going to last for forever and could affect them forever.
Would you want your parents to see this? Would you want a principal to see this? Would you want college admissions to look at this and deny you college admission? Would you want an employer to know that these things are out there on you? And be very selective about what you put online. And if you're comfortable with putting it online and sharing it with the rest of the world, by all means do it.
If someone wants to report a crime, they should contact the cyber tip line. I think one of the challenges for parents is to keep up with the technology. And NetSmart 411 is one of the resources that they can go to, and they can say, how do I mark a social networking site to private? Or how do I look at my children's internet sites, where they've gone and what places they've visited?
Parents must be involved in their children's cell phone and internet use. It's imperative that they set rules on these technologies, and remember, don't preach, teach.
For more information and resources about online safety,
Go to the website below.
Prescription drug abuse is the nation's second largest drug abuse problem and is the only category in which drug abuse is rising. Next, we'll show you how the people are getting scammed and even killed by pharmaceuticals purchased from the internet. You're watching The Badge. It's very common to buy something over the internet. It's simple, saves time and money, and many of us have done it. But when it comes to purchasing prescription drugs, you may want to think twice. Ryan Haidt was a teenager who easily bought prescription narcotics from an online website by simply filling out a questionnaire. A doctor who never saw Haidt wrote the prescription, and the drugs were mailed directly to his house. Haidt overdosed on the narcotic and died at 18. Most online pharmacies are in different countries where there aren't regulations to determine the quality or quantity of the drugs you are buying. Ruth Carter, Group Supervisor for the Diversion Control Group of the DEA's Seattle Field Division, explains why it's not just illegal, but extremely dangerous to order your drugs through an online pharmacy.
A customer doesn't really have any way of knowing what they're getting if they order something and it comes from a foreign source. Because the FDA regulates the drugs and the qualitative and quantitative portions of the drugs in the United States, but that regulation is not the same in most foreign countries. It could be more powerful, it could be a totally different substance, it also could be totally counterfeit. I mean, it could be totally, they may think they're getting hydrocodone, for example, and they may just be getting some type of placebo pill that doesn't have any hydrocodone in it at all.
Legislation known as the Ryan Haidt Act now prohibits anyone from selling or shipping controlled substances purchased over the internet when the customer hasn't yet seen a doctor face-to-face. That means that you still need to see your doctor in person to get a valid prescription for any medication. But that doesn't stop some entrepreneurs from trying to get around that part of the law. Some websites will send the patient to see one of their doctors. In many cases, it's just a rented office that the patient goes to simply sign a questionnaire to receive their prescription. In most cases, they don't even see a real doctor. But it's not just narcotics that are sold and shipped to customers.
Usually the drugs available are non-controlled substances, and then they will have some controlled substances such as Ambien, which is a sleeping medication, Vicodin or hydrocodone. Usually we don't see the Schedule IIs, but occasionally we have seen a few foreign websites that do aggressively advertise for OxyContin or oxycodone.
But buying unregulated pills through the internet isn't the only danger you face if you shop in online pharmacy.
Typically, when someone goes online to a website and starts placing orders, they usually are going to input a credit card. A lot of times the customers will get their drugs and then it will end up not being what they thought they were getting, so they don't want to order again. However, the websites have been known to start calling the customer. The customer says, no, I don't want to order anything else. The websites have been known to go ahead and charge the credit card again. Some of the websites actually just start shipping the drugs or the substances automatically. There have been customers that have complained that their identity has been stolen because they ordered from one of these foreign websites. So there's just a myriad of issues that could occur just by going online and placing one order.
To learn more about the laws for online pharmacies and drug prevention information for young adults, visit DEA.gov. Next on The Badge, our agent profile. Mark Thomas is the acting special agent in charge of the DEA Seattle Field Division. In a rare interview, Mr. Thomas gives us a glimpse into the life of a DEA agent.
There's a lot going on behind closed doors, and if the American people knew the tremendous sacrifice that agents like DEA agents are making, and some of my other federal counterparts are making also, you could write books about it.
One of the toughest jobs you can have is a DEA special agent. Not only do you have to be smart, you also have to be physically fit and ready to take on the world's most dangerous people. Needless to say, only the best of the best are picked. Mr. Thomas is one of those. He is the acting special agent in charge of the DEA's Seattle Field Division.
I think it's very adventurous, and I think that's what draws some of the people to our jobs. There's some times that you're sitting in an office and you're just doing paperwork and writing reports, answering phones, interviewing people, traveling. There's other time where you're going through doors with armed suspects behind the doors, and you're conducting raids, or you're undercover. And you're actually, unlike some TV, you're actually meeting with people one-on-one. And unlike TV, there's not always a lot of help. It's one-on-one. I'm in senior management, so a lot of my days consume with managerial activities. And then there's the special agent part of it, which I did for most of my career and still do occasionally currently. On the special agent part, your day varies from writing reports, using the computer, interviewing people, meeting with the assistant U.S. attorneys, the prosecutors, planning major operations, working undercover, collecting evidence, going to crime scenes, interviewing witnesses, training, going to the firearms range, conducting narcotics raids or fugitive apprehensions.
Throughout his career, Special Agent Thomas has been involved with dozens of cases, facing a variety of crimes, criminals, and situations.
Probably the biggest one I've been involved with is some of them that were gunfights. And I came home at the end of the day and you're like, that was close. That was really close. And when you experience something like that, you may have only taken off a few suspects on that particular case, but that sears an image in your mind for the rest of your life. And you suddenly realize the cost of the occupation that you've chosen. I bought into the concept of serving the public, and one of the great things about being in the DEA is you get to have a service mentality. You actually get to go do stuff, and at the end of the day or the end of the week and you come home, you'll actually know you did something for the nation. I'm Mark Thomas. I'm with the United States Drug Enforcement Administration.
For information about what you've seen today, or to learn about career opportunities for the agencies profiled in the badge, visit their websites